Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. It's the talk show. Again, myself, Bilal Ali-Kedar, joined by brother Muhammad Sulaiman and also joined by brother Rashid Rose. Today, we are going to be discussing what should our response be? What should our response to what? Okay, there's been an evolution in the conversation. The death of George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter, this international outcry against anti-Black racism. Even the Muslim community have jumped in and started to discuss it, and it's led to the Muslim community or sections of the Muslim community actually shining a light internally and saying, no point in talking about external racism. Our communities are somewhat rotten inside. So one of the main areas, which is a kind of fault line, is to do with the issue of marriage and interracial marriage and intercultural marriage, things of this nature. So is there this deep need for Black men, when they become Muslim, to marry out? I want to put that question to Brother Rashid Rose first of all.
Bismillah. Like I said in my introduction, the desire to marry into Asian community has become less over the last 15 to 20 years. For brothers coming into the deen, let's say 20, 30 years ago, that was a desire because Indian or Asian sisters were the only ones available at the time. And because you think Islam encouraged multiculturalism, you thought it would have been okay to approach any sister you want to marry, but the blocks and the brick wall was put up in front of you. And a lot of brothers realized early then it is not something worthwhile pursuing. Hence, and alhamdulillah, since then a lot of Black sisters has come into Islam. And that has been the trend ever since. In a place like Trinidad, there was a multiplicity of Black sisters who need to get married. In Guyana, that's the case. And throughout the Caribbean, so the desire, as you mentioned, is a lot less today than it was 20, 30 years ago. And that is because brothers has realized racism is endemic in the Asian, Indian, Arab, Somali community. And Black people are not truly welcome in those communities because
although Somalis are part of the Black community, though, actually. Just
well, it is, but they have their own.
But ethnocentrism, I get your point about ethnocentrism. Yeah, I get your point.
I heard Patrick Lumumba saying the other day, Morocco has now excluded themselves from Africa. And that's what mentioned that point. Maybe the Somalis might do this. Yeah, so the Somalis might be doing the same thing too.
Very interesting.
Some people think being Black is something derogative. That's the point I'm trying to make when I mention Somali, because associating yourself with Blackness is something negative, something derogative. So yeah, come back to the point. A lot of Black brothers don't have that innate desire anymore to marry into this community because of the problems it comes with, both for the man and for the woman. And with that,
stick a pause, Brother Rashid. Stick a pause, Brother Rashid. Brother Rashid, stick a pause. I'm going to bring Brother Solomon in just to touch on the point. Let me get your perspective on that, Solomon.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa ta'ala wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters, and to you two distinguished brothers as well in the Zoom session. Well, yes, I believe this is very apt. It is on point, and it's something that needs definitely to be dissected. You posit the question: is there something innate or something within the Black psyche, of the Black Muslim psyche, to seek a woman or a zawj or a wife outside of his culture, of his ethnicity? I wouldn't say race because there's only one race, which is the human race.
Sure.
However, I would say that there is some residue of slavery, I believe, that has damaged and has split and has created a kind of a cognitive resilience or resistance to some of these brothers specifically finding a sister who looks like them. And I believe that this is played out for a long time within the community. As Brother Rashid so eloquently said, yes, initially, I've been Muslim for 30 odd years. So 30 years ago, 20 years ago, there wasn't a preponderance of a lot of sisters of our own background, African Caribbean or African Caribbean particularly, sisters, who were available. So many of us were looking wives. We just wanted a Muslim wife. Some of us just wanted a Muslim wife, and the majority of people from the subcontinent of Asian descent or Iranian descent, Arab descent, they would have been the more ideal choice. I don't think some of us weren't going specifically because of their their culture or their ethnic identity, it was because they were Muslim. However, I believe it was the host community that had the issue with that, and were like, well, this is not an Islamic issue here. It's a racial identity issue. You're marrying you're marrying my daughter because of the fact that she is an Arab. That wasn't the issue at all. It was because they profess to be Muslim. So they're the ones.
All right, brother, they profess to be Muslim. Sikapin, I really want to bring Brother Rashid back in, because I'm saying there's an argument. I know we've only got 5 minutes left, but we want to cover as much ground as we can. Some people are saying, do we as black men, anyway, as Muslims, need to learn how to love a black woman? And that otherwise you'll be walking yourself into a burning building. Because remember, in the Southeast Asian community, for example, who are predominantly the Muslims in this country, there's a thing of the honor killing. Do you want to really put a woman through that? Not just you as you, but the generic you. Do you want to put a woman through that? She could be put in a suitcase. She could be chopped up. She could go missing. This is the reality. She could be ostracized at the least.
Bilal, I mean, this is something that I'm being very, very close to in the last recent years, because for a black brother to encourage a sister to marry him is putting his life at risk and putting her life at risk. And
at least potentially, right? At least potentially.
So I mean, so any thinking, conscious brother will not want that for himself, or will not want that for his wife. It ain't really worth the stress. Regardless of whatever part of the world you might migrate to, they will find you if they want to find, because at the end of the day, it's a tradition. If you marry outside their culture, outside their tradition, they will bring you down because you're dishonoring the family. So any conscious brother, really, any conscious sister will not want that for each other. So to pursue each other in marriage is really futile. And I think less and less over the last couple of years, last 5 years or so, that desire to marry in the other community, the Indian, the Arab, it has happened in 1 or 2 occasions, yes. But the black brothers are realizing, like I said before, it ain't really worth the grief for yourself and for the sister. You're living undercover, you can't go certain places, you can't go to the brother's family can't come to your house. It ain't really worth it. So I think
it's not really worth it. At least,
stress.
In the least, we're saying that it's fraught with challenge. Brother Sulaiyman, what's your opinion on this?
Well, to be honest with you, I think unless we are prepared to strike a match for Islam and take on board all the difficulties, how will things change? I don't think it's the case now. I think that it's the same in America. We could sit back and say, well, the police are always this way. They're always going to continue to kill black men, and black people, the systemic racism in America will always exist. But no, I mean, black, white, red, brown, all people have got together and said enough is enough. And I believe if you have, in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when it came to your wives, he said, your wives are not your mothers. Stop putting them on your mother, wives, your mother. So, and the same with Zaid, Ibn Tabat, when Prophet Muhammad went to marry his wife Zainab, but we divorced. And he thought, because he's my son, I can't marry this woman. But Allah caused a revolution by saying, no. You know what I mean? We're going to break these cultural, barbaric, anti-Islamic stances. So we also as well got to always be able, remember, Islam is a revolutionary force based on truth and justice. So we need to.
Are black people in a position? So let me jump in. Are black people in a position to be the ones to bring this revolution to the Muslim world? Or do we need now to get our own house in order, get our own house clean? Question, and learn how to love our own black women.
We need to learn to love our own black women. We need to learn to love ourselves as black men, because we've got a lot of self-hate going on.
Here we go.
The internal self-love has to happen. The external won't happen unless the internal happens. So first of all, we've got to stop as black men. We've got to stop calling ourselves reverts. We've got to stop acting like coons in front of lighter skinned Muslim Arabs. We've got to leave them out. The Prophet is a black Afrabian. The Ahlul Bayt are black Afrabians. We have to be unequivocal, unapologetic about this. And then we have to claim our women and show our women why we are men, why we are protectors, why we are educators, why we will die for our woman, why she's the most disrespected on the planet, why we must defend her with our lives. Once we show this to her, then she will in turn love us. And if other women then want to, and then once we clean our house up, clean up ourselves, make ourselves fit to be seen as civilized Islamic people with an agenda, knowing our history, knowing our future, then other people will be able to see us and use it as a shining light on the hill to clean up their filthy acts.
Wow, that's very powerful. Brother Rashid, what's your thoughts?
I want to go a little further than that because, I mean, this whole incident in America has highlighted the fractions in the Muslim communities. So why am I just saying that we need to do this and we need to do that? This situation in America has highlighted how racially biased certain communities are towards us. We don't have the problems. They have the problems. And for the first time, the Pakistani community, individuals are starting to question certain practices within the community for the first time ever. So something
true. I've seen Pakistani sisters actually come out on social media to challenge their own internal communities.
They're no longer afraid of the honor killing. They are now putting their faces on WhatsApp, on YouTube, and challenging the status quo. So that is a positive direction. The problem, I say, is not with us. And when Pakistanis are willing to take that stand, I know something is changing. Because honestly, you don't change the condition of yourself, of anything unless you change your own condition. So they are making a step to change this. And I feel that it's a step in the right direction. So if
that is a beautiful,
that is a beautiful
thing. That is a beautiful point. That is a beautiful point to pause this section or this segment or this part of the conversation as we run out of time. But I hope that, inshallah, that we can take things a little bit further or take things a little bit deeper a little bit later. But for now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. Alhamdulillah. Shukran.